trip over the tripod.
That'll be a good start.
Yeah.
Well, we're back again, folks, because we've discovered something on the Nikon D850.
We have. So, as I was investigating, because I knew it had this feature, but I've never used it before. So, I've just had a quick play with it, and it was actually quite simple to do. So, if we go into the menus, this is on a Nikon, and it's not only, I know other cameras have got this same feature too. So, have a look if you've got it. It's worth having a play with. So in the Nikon menu, so you can come straight down to the camera icon and use your right arrow across, and it's right down the bottom. So if I'll scroll back up to the top. Otherwise you'll go, oh, it's not just there. So at the top of the list from the camera icon, it's actually at the bottom. So you can either hit the up arrow, which takes you straight to the bottom, or scroll all the way down. And down on the bottom, we've got focus, shift, shooting. And I thought, I reckon this would be the one. So if we go into there, at the moment it's off. And it's got number of shots, which originally was on 100, and I nearly died. This is the Nikon D850. And it's a very high megapixel camera, which means that if I haven't already run out of space on my cards, it will probably happen right now. But I've brought that back to 30. It's also got focus step width. So that is the distance that it's going to keep focusing at. It was originally on 5, I think it was. I've pushed it to 10. I mean, if you're doing an insect shot and you're just wanting the head of the insect, if he's going to stay there long enough, and you can hold the camera steady enough, I've put it back on a tripod again. You probably want very fine increments. I've gone to the maximum, which is 10, because it's just a wafer cookie. So Grant's.
But they do move. These wafer cookies move.
I know. We've got a different photo again, so you'll have to bear with us, because each time I put wafer cookies on the plate, they keep bloody disappearing, Grant.
No idea why.
It's as bad as photographing an insect.
I said, you've got to be quick.
So we've got focus step width. So I've put that at 10 because of what I'm shooting. Then it's got interval until next shot. It's on 0, and it is already on 0 when you first open it. I believe that would be the interval between each shot. So you can take one shot, have a bit of time before it takes the next shot. Not exactly sure why you would want to slow the camera down.
Not a good idea, because I could eat a cookie in that time.
It's not going to work with cookies on the table. So you got exposure smoothing. I don't know what that is yet. I'll play with that. Silent photography, and
well, you wouldn't want to frighten off the cookies.
They've also got, looks like, starting storage folder. I reckon that would, yes, that's what I thought it would do. It will allow you to put a new folder. So like me putting my hand in front, it will put it into a folder separately, especially if you've got 100 photos.
Yeah.
So it'll put it in a folder separately, so when you go to edit it, you'll have a separate folder. So that's actually probably not a bad feature. I just put my hand in front.
And obviously the silent photography would be for your insects and your stuff like that.
If you've got something skittish, you can put it on silent photography, and it stops the mirror bouncing up and down. It's all right for the mirrorless people. They're silent all the time.
That's right.
But unless they got that horrible sound, the old sound. But they're silent. So
how did that go again?
They can replay it. They'll probably make a music video with that, just that one sound, Grant.
God.
At that stage, the channel's over. We're finished. We're shutting down. Sell everything. Closing down sale. Fire sale. It's all gone. So with that, I noticed with playing around, and if I go back to the focus area, I'll go live view. That's right, I've got to set the camera up. Things have moved, haven't they, Grant? So let's just check. Things have moved a lot. I'll do the one. I'll do the one, Grant.
Now you got to eat those three now.
Yes, well, especially now that I've handled them.
That's right.
So these three are mine. So I'll put them aside for the moment.
That was well done.
Look at that, I've made myself a wafer sandwich.
That was pretty clever, that.
But this is all just to prove a point. So with playing with it, if I put the sensor spot, just angle that down a little bit. So you want to focus right at the foreground. So what the camera's going to do is it's now going to step all the way back to the back of the wafer. So you've got to make sure that you focus the camera to begin with right at the front of the wafer or whatever the object is in the foreground. And then when you set it going, then it will take the photos incrementing back to the back of the wafer.
A question, Brad. If we were shooting an insect with antennae or feelers, etc., then you would want to be focusing a little, and they were out the front.
Whatever's the closest to the lens.
You would want to be focusing a little further towards you, wouldn't you? To be sure, be sure that you got all the features that you wanted.
Depending on the insect, depends on how far you've got to go with the lens, is when we were playing with the increments and the amount of photos. So getting the camera to do it, I notice you end up taking a lot more photos than what I would do manually. Manually, I'd end up to 20 to 30 photos. This thing, you end up with 30 to 50 photos to get that same shot. And it's because it's taking a lot finer increments. So with this, the other thing I forgot to mention also is when you're doing multiple exposures like this is to lock off your exposure. So you can go to manual, which I'll go to manual now. I haven't even looked at the settings of what this camera was on. I was too excited to use the feature, I didn't even look. So at the moment it's on ISO 100. It's got a minus EV there, which I'll take off. So it's 5.6 at 8th of a second. So we will, I've just got to think, this is the 850, so it's slightly different than my other, big camera. So what are we going to go, 5.6 at 8. So now I've gone on to manual control with the camera, and I've brought the exposure back. So now it will take every shot at that exposure. When I was playing around with it, I just had it on aperture priority, and I reckon the light, I'm using natural light, and there's a lot of cloud and there's a bit of rain around at the moment, and I reckon the light changed because there was one photo that exposed differently than the other ones when I first did this. So that's why that you lock the exposure to the one exposure. That way that every photo is going to have the same exposure. So with that, I'm on manual. I've got the correct exposure. I've focused on the very start of the wafer. I go into menu, go to my focus shift shooting, and up the top here it's got start, and you can see my settings there. And let's fire away. Let's hit OK, or the center button of your little pad, and away she goes. I'm just looking at Grant now. I'm doing nothing.
Sounds like it's eating my cookie.
I can have my wafer cookie, can't I, while I wait?
Sadist. Cruel.
So, what we've ended up with, now it's got the last photo there. As you can see, it finished the focus right at the end of the wafer. Now the computer's going to be a little bit slower at updating this, so I'll go through it slowly, but you'll see the focus point go from the back of the wafer. It's moving forward. You also notice the crop's getting in tighter too. And there's the front. So it has shot from the back of the wafer to the front.
It's pretty handy, isn't it? Because if you were in in-field situation, take a lot of the guesswork out. So, yeah, I'll give a big tick to Nikon on that one. That's very impressive.
The other cameras have it as well. I hope it's as. I actually came across this very quickly, very simply. I got it to work straight away.
Which really raises a really important topic, doesn't it? That.
So I'm going to pause that episode right there to keep things short. It's just a little bonus episode. I'm going to continue this on with part 2 of this little bonus episode. Grant started asking too many questions and we sort of got on a little bit of a rant. So keep your eye out. That will be coming out hopefully tomorrow. I'll release that one. And there'll be another short little bonus video of just Grant and myself just talking about things. So yeah, watch out for the episode.